All right, let's dive head first into it. The NFL season is so close you can almost taste it, but first things first, teams are making those really tough calls. Finalizing rosters. It's a strategic crunch time.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving from 90 guys down to 53. It's a huge shift, and a lot of careers hang in the balance.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the Jacksonville Jaguars, specifically looking at who they might trade away as they make those cuts. We're working off a Yard Barker piece from August 13th, 3 players the Jaguars could trade after preseason. Pretty timely.
Right, and what's interesting isn't just who they list, but the why. What makes these specific guys potential trade bait? It gets you thinking, doesn't it? How do teams try to squeeze every last bit of value out of these decisions? Trading versus cutting, especially, with week 1 against Carolina staring them right in the face.
Yeah. Exactly. The preseason games, training camp, it's starting to become clearer who's in and who's out. And sometimes, for a vet on the bubble, a trade is actually the best outcome. A fresh start somewhere else. The article kind of highlights 3 types. The guy squeezed out by depth, the recent pick maybe not panning out, and the holdover from a previous regime.
Yeah.
All 3 here. First up, linebacker Chad Muma.
Okay, Muma. He fits that depth casualty profile pretty well. 4th-year player, contract year coming up. That's always a big deal. And he's shown he can play, right? He's filled in as a starter, been productive when needed, not a scrub by any means.
That's the kicker, isn't it? The article says Muma could probably start for what, like half the league, 16 teams? If that's true, it tells you just how loaded the Jags must be at linebacker. That's quite a luxury.
It really is. And it's a classic NFL situation. You draft well, you develop guys, and suddenly you have maybe too much talent at one spot. For Muma, looking at free agency next year, he probably needs to be starting somewhere to show what he can do. Get that next contract.
Makes sense. He wants to maximize his value.
Totally. And then you throw in the rookie, Jack Kaiser, who's apparently been looking good in camp and preseason.
Ah, okay. So the new guy pushes the slightly older guy out.
Potentially, yeah. It signals maybe the team sees Kaiser as the cheaper, longer-term option. So Muma becomes expendable. But expendable doesn't mean valueless. For another team needing linebacker help, he's got starting experience.
So the Jags could maybe flip him for a draft pick instead of just cutting him.
Yeah.
Get something back.
Exactly. Maybe a mid to late rounder. It's better than nothing. And Muma gets his shot elsewhere. Sort of a win-win if they can find a trade partner.
Okay, that logic tracks. Let's move to the next guy. Running back Tank Bigsby. This feels like the underperforming pick scenario.
Yeah, the picture here seems a bit clearer, especially after that last preseason game I mentioned. Bigsby got some run with the second team, okay, but then the rookie, Bashal Tutin, came in.
And Tutin looked better.
Well, they had the same rushing stats, basically 6 carries, 24 yards. But Tutin punched in a touchdown.
Ah, big difference in a competition.
Huge difference. It really makes a strong case for Tutin maybe locking down that number 2 spot behind Etienne.
So where does that leave Bigsby? The article also mentions he's not great catching passes and maybe a bit inconsistent running the ball.
Yeah, those are knocks that have followed him a bit. Pass protection, reliability as a receiver, things you need from a backup RB.
So if he's inconsistent and getting outperformed by a rookie, is he even tradable? What's the value proposition there?
It's a fair question. The value isn't sky high, obviously. But here's the thing. He's a former 3rd-round pick, and he still has 2 years left on his rookie contract.
Okay. Cheap control. That's always appealing to teams.
Right. So another team might look at him as a low-risk, change of pace kind of back, maybe a team that needs a bit more power or just depth. They wouldn't give up much. Maybe a conditional late-round pick, like a 6th or 7th.
So basically a flyer for the other team, and the Jags recoup something instead of just cutting him loose.
Pretty much. It's about finding that niche fit for him somewhere else. A fresh start might even do him good.
Gotcha. Okay, final player on the list, Darnell Savage, the safety. This feels like the 3rd archetype, the veteran, maybe caught out by new signings and a different regime.
Exactly. The Jags brought in Eric Murray this offseason, another safety, and that just cranked up the competition. You've got Savage, Andrew Wingard, the rookie Caleb Ransaw, Antonio Johnson. That's a crowded room. Somebody's got to be the odd man out.
And the thinking is it might be Savage.
That's what the article suggests, yeah. He's talented, no doubt, former 1st-rounder even, but roster building is complex.
And the article points out he's a holdover, right, from the Peterson-Balke era. Does that usually matter?
Oh, absolutely. New GMs, new coaches, they often want to bring in their guys. Players who fit their specific scheme, their culture, maybe guys they scouted themselves.
So even if Savage is good, he might not be their kind of good.
Or maybe they just see more upside or a better scheme fit in Ransaw or Johnson, the younger guys. Plus, there's the contract aspect.
Right. You mentioned Eric Murray was signed. Is Savage maybe more expensive?
Could be. Trading him might free up some cap space, which is always valuable. General manager James Gladstone might see that as a way to gain flexibility. If one of those other safeties really impresses in the rest of the preseason, it gives Gladstone a reason, maybe an excuse, to move on from Savage.
Get some value back, clear cap space, and shape the roster more towards the current leadership's vision.
Exactly. It's optimizing, turning a piece from the previous setup into resources for the future, while still recognizing Savage has value for another team needing safety depth or starting experience.
So across these three guys, Muma, Bigsby, Savage, you see different reasons, but the same outcome. Potentially being traded. Depth, performance, scheme fit, contract status. It all plays a part.
It really shows how fluid and honestly how ruthless NFL roster management is right before the season. Constant evaluations.
So wrapping this up, we've seen how a deep position group like linebacker can push out a solid player like Muma. We've seen how a rookie's emergence, like Tootin, can put pressure on a recent pick like Bigsby.
Yeah.
And how new signings and regime changes can impact a veteran holdover like Savage.
It's a fascinating microcosm of the whole league right now, and maybe the bigger question, the one you think about watching all this unfold. What does this constant churn really mean for players long term? How do teams balance winning now with building for the future through draft picks and cap management? It's a tough balancing act.
Definitely something to chew on as you watch these final roster cuts happen across the league. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.